Today on Perpetual Projects, we're gonna show you how we take old, rusty looking bolts like that and make them look brand new like that. So this is a chemical process. It's not painting it. This is not painted. So this coating won't chip off. It's called black oxide coating. And if you get new bolts, sometimes they are black oxide coated when you buy them. And you can do this process at home with just a couple of things. The first thing you're gonna need is this Caswell black oxide treatment or concentrate. And you mix 1 part of this to 9 parts distilled water. I've got one that I mixed up in an old spaghetti or Alfredo jar here. And I've been using this for quite a while and it still works great. So I'm just gonna continue using this one, and that's what we're gonna use today. So the first thing that you need to do is clean your bolts. You need to get all the rust and grime and paint off of them. The way we're gonna do that is we're gonna use our sandblast cabinet, and you could use a wire wheel. I've done it before and it works just as well. It's just a little more time consuming. Okay, now that we've got our bolts all sandblasted, we're gonna go ahead and just drop them in this jar here. It just has acetone in it. That's just gonna help get any oil or anything off of them that might be on there. Swish them around. Careful if you're using glass jars, you don't wanna break your jar. I've been through, I don't know, 100 of these bolts and some pretty good sized ones. And so far I haven't broken one. I'll probably break that one now that I said that. And then just use a magnet to get them out. So just for record, this won't work for stainless bolts or aluminum. Well, I don't know if it'll work for aluminum. It definitely doesn't work for stainless, I can tell you that for sure. I imagine it probably doesn't work for aluminum either because it's designed for like steel, regular steel. Once you have them clean, you're gonna go ahead and drop them in your solution of the black oxide treatment. And I just put them in here, put the lid on, switch it around a little bit. After 5 minutes, I like to take my bolts out and you'll see where they've started to get partially blackened, but they have this film building up on them. So I take them out and I just wipe them off real good. Once you have them all wiped off, just put them back in for another 5, sometimes 10 minutes. I've left them overnight and I didn't notice a huge difference. So we'll let these sit 5 minutes and see how they look. We may or may not have decided to have dinner and let this soak for closer to an hour. We did. We had dinner. We let it sit for an hour. Let's see how our bolts are turning out. So, I mean, as you can see, that's got a little light spot right there on the edge, but they're nice and black and you can't wipe it off anymore. So we'll go ahead and get all these out. That little part right there, that could possibly be some paint that was left on there. Some of these bolts were gray, so it was kind of hard to see, or it could be a little bit of zinc. If you leave any zinc on there, the zinc also won't turn black. All right, so once they're all wiped off, you can see they're nice and black oxide coated. You just take your penetrating oil, and this is actual Caswell penetrating oil that's made for doing this. I don't know how it would work if you just used, you know, like WD-40 is a pretty good protectant, or PB Blaster is a penetrating oil. I don't know how that would work. I also know that these will eventually rust again. If they're exposed to moisture, they'll rust just like a regular black oxide bolt will. But it's better than just if it was left sandblasted. They can handle a little bit of moisture, especially with the oil coating. So we'll let these sit for about 3 or 4 minutes and then pull them out and just let them dry off. Right. Now they're all done. We'll just let them sit here and let that oil soak. I don't wipe them off after I've done the oil. And after, I don't know, overnight usually, they'll kind of dry to, I don't know, semi-gloss or a satin finish. And that oil will be nice and embedded in there. So let me show you we'll get an up close look at what these look like. These are bolts that I did a couple days ago. And you can see after that oil dries, that gloss goes away and they just are nice, black, brand new looking bolts. And you didn't have to go buy all new ones. You can also do other small parts, like these are the latches for our Jeep tailgate. It works on springs. That's a washer. This is a little spring that goes behind that latch. It works on that stuff too. This is my favorite way to bring back old parts, especially if you're doing like a resto mod where you don't need factory appearing bolts. I think it's awesome, and it's a simple process. It's not super expensive. It is a little bit expensive to get started, but that black oxide coating is gonna last, or treatment is gonna last a long time. And this penetrating oil, I mean, it goes down. Obviously, some of it stays on every bolt, but it's gonna last. I've done hundreds of bolts, and as you can see, I've barely broke into my black oxide coating, and I think this penetrating oil might have been just a little bit higher when I first poured it in this glass jar. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you like tips like this, subscribe, because we try to share some insight on some of the little things that we do to try to save money so that we don't have to buy all new bolts when we put our projects back together. We can have brand new looking bolts for a lot less money. See you soon.